They're talking about the NFL from a different perspective. Game recaps, stats, big plays, predictions, and much more. You're listening to the B&E podcast with Ed Donaldson and Brandon Simpson.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the B&E podcast. We got Jason back with us today. Brandon in the house. How you guys doing today? Jason, what's going on with you?
I'm good. Chilling on my virtual beach. One day it'll be a reality. No? But
One
until
day.
then, one day. Until then, I just gotta, I guess, fake it till I make it. I guess I don't know.
Hey, that's the American way. Shoot. Brandon, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good. First weekend without football in 4 or 5 months, so a little bit different. At least we had All-Star weekend. So
Oh, you got the XFL, man.
XFL and
oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, I didn't see any of that, but I need to watch it next weekend.
I saw a couple of clips. It didn't look too good. People was dropping balls. People look nervous out there. There's also the USFL draft. If anyone cares, they'll have a draft tomorrow, Tuesday. I might check that out. I'll probably forget, probably be at work, but we'll see. I'll try to keep a tab on it. Also, in some related news for the fight fans out there, Greg Hardy made his debut in bare knuckle fighting, and he got knocked the fuck out. He's been getting knocked out a lot lately, so I don't know, man. Maybe switch up a career field, Greg. I don't know, man. But, good luck to you, whatever you do next, because that one ain't look too good.
All right, let's get to this opening drive. Go ahead. You good, Jason?
Yeah, that guy. I don't know if he's the money or something. Even though he was at a short NFL career, I feel like he made a good amount of money. But you just need to go ahead and stop and invest and sit on some money or something like that. I don't know. That's
I don't know either.
terrible.
Yeah.
All right, let's turn our attention to this opening drive. The Cardinals, they brought over the Browns quarterback coach Drew Petzing as their offensive coordinator. They've also hired Eagles linebackers coach Nick Rallis as their defensive coordinator. Buccaneers, they've hired Seahawks quarterback coach Dave Canales to replace Byron Leftwich as their offensive play caller. Panthers, they have hired the Los Angeles Rams assistant head coach Thomas Brown to be their new offensive coordinator there in Carolina. Los Angeles Chargers, they're promoting their Derek Ansley to defensive coordinator as former coordinator Ronaldo Hill. He joined the Dolphins coaching staff down there in South Beach. The grand jury has indicted Saints running back Alvin Kamara on battery charges from a 2002 incident last February, a year ago. Jaguars wide receiver Calvin Ridley, he's applying for reinstatement after an indefinite suspension from betting on NFL games. And the former Raiders quarterback Derek Carr, he's been out on a free agent tour. He visited with the Saints, and he's also going to meet with the Jets later this week.
Yeah, before we get started, just wanted to comment on a couple of those notes you made the opening drive, First, the Alvin Kamara news. I'm wondering how much time he's going to do. I think he's going to do some time for this. I don't know if y'all saw the video for this, but he's got indicted as well. I don't think he's done any jail time since, the story broke, but I feel like he might do some time for this. What do y'all think about that?
I agree.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he did like at least 6 months, maybe even more.
What was the video? I think I saw it last year. I can't remember.
Yeah, it's been a while.
So they were at this was during the Pro Bowl festivities. It was like late night, early morning. I think like 6 a.m. They were in a hotel, Alvin Kamara and some other. I think that there was another NFL player. I think he's with either the Chiefs or Cincinnati. He was like a defensive back. But some guy was trying to get on the elevator. Kamara stopped him, pushed his hand away, or put his hand on his chest, like you say, you can't get on. I guess he made a comment. The dude made a comment to Kamara that set him off, and they started whooping the dude's ass. Like they did a number on him. He had like a facial fracture, all types of stuff. Got beat up, got knocked out. So Yeah, it wasn't a good video. It wasn't a good look for Kamara. If
Yeah,
you remember that news.
okay, yeah, he's going to definitely do some time, and that's going to hurt his pockets pretty good, which it should to be real. And he's going to miss probably honestly the first 6 games. They're going to suspend him. That's just my opinion, but they're
True.
Yeah,
going to suspend him for all that.
yeah, I
Yeah,
think
because
he'll be suspended too. That's a
we
good
was
point
looking
because
for
I
that
don't think he
suspension
got
last year.
suspended.
Yep,
Yeah, I don't think he got suspended last year.
correct.
Yeah. Also, Derek Carr. I'm glad there was one team I didn't see on the list of Commanders. I think he's a good quarterback. I think he never had a defense. So he goes to a team like the Jets. I think he can turn those guys around. But Commanders, let's not make that move right now. Let's stick with Sam Howell or Taylor Heineke. But yeah, I think between the Saints and the Jets, if I was Derek Carr, I would go to the Jets. What do y'all think about that?
Yeah, I guess like if Sean Payton was still there, I'd be rallying for him to go to the Saints because he's a better offensive play caller as opposed to I think it's Pete Carmichael now, and you got Dennis Allen as the head coach. He's a defensive guy. You almost had the same situation in New York as well. They just got a better defense, but tell you the truth, that New Orleans run defense has been good recently. So I do think the wideouts are probably a little bit better there for the Jets. But don't hold your breath on Washington. I mean, y'all just got Bieniemy, so he is familiar with him in the AFC West. Not that he was calling plays against him because he was an offensive play caller and the quarterback, but he is familiar with him. I'm just not sold on the fact that he's going to go with the first couple of teams that he visits. I'm pretty sure he's going to wait it out and try to get the best option available of what happened in Las Vegas. And, that was kind of like, I think he kind of took that to heart. So, yeah, don't be surprised if y'all call him in.
There's another guy out there too. I'm sorry, Jason. Go ahead.
I wonder where it's a little bit of an interesting situation because I wonder what his mental makeup is because the New York media is a real thing and it's going to be high expectations for him if he goes to the Jets, especially with that division being a bit down. You got we're not down. No, I'm thinking of the wrong division.
Space to win.
Hold on. That's the Jets are in the same division as the Bills and the Patriots and okay, so that'll be that's
East, right?
Yeah, okay. I was thinking of that division. That's a stacked division. So there's gonna be high expectations. And then you got New Orleans. He's familiar with Dennis Allen being from the Raiders time.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And but then you got to kind of look at that as well. It's like, be real, this Alvin Kamara situation might make you think different now, but to say so it's just interesting. I think this best opportunity is with the Jets, to be real. But I think the Jets, they're gonna, if I was them, I would look at Aaron Rodgers first and then kind of have Derek Carr, as a backup option before I could go with him. But if I was Derek Carr, I would look at the Jets as my primary option. It's just, can you handle that pressure in New York with the expectations that come with that? So,
yeah, I agree with you, Jason. But who knows? Like you said, Dennis Allen, that connection with the Saints, we'll see. But like you said, Aaron Rodgers, I think he's done with that 96 hours in solitude and darkness. So, we'll see how he comes out of this. But for what I've been hearing, I think the Green Bay Packers are down for him. I've seen a couple stories out there. I don't know if they're true or not, but they're saying that the front office is done with Aaron Rodgers. They're willing to move on. A team that I wouldn't mind him going to is actually the Commanders, Aaron Rodgers.
Oh God.
But I don't want it to be a trade. So I don't know if that's possible. I think he's still in the contract, and I think we would have to trade him. And I know the Packers will want everything in a house. So if that is the case where it would be a trade, nah. If he was just like a free agent type of thing, then Aaron Rodgers, think about the Commanders. We got a team.
Well, I think in a way he controls his own destiny. I think he has a no trade clause or something like that. But he has like $100 million left on his contract. So this is I can see it happening where I'll do something like this. I would I would try to do like some type of signing trade with Deron Payne to lower that, Aaron Rodgers money a bit, and give up a couple picks and and go like that, because I don't think this would happen. This is just fantasy thinking. But if we had Aaron Rodgers with Bieniemy, like, bro, heck, Super Bowl right there. I just call it real talk.
Really?
We could get rid of Deron Payne and make up with Aaron Rodgers, and you got all those weapons, and it, real talk, we would be a strong candidate for the Super Bowl. Like, who else could beat us? Like, with Aaron Rodgers, Jahan Dotson, Terry McLaurin, Curtis Samuel. Those are just the receivers. Now he's not talking about the running back. So I would.
You don't think we would have to give up any of those guys too as part of the trade?
This is fantasy, so I'm just thinking how
I
I would want it.
fault.
But Aaron Rodgers kind of controls his own destiny, though. I think he has a no trade clause, so he can literally say, "This is where I want to go," and in a way they have to capitulate. But I do think you're right about the Packers are done with him, and they would more than likely be glad to trade him and get what they can. So we'll see.
Yeah, we will definitely see. So speaking of Eric Bieniemy, Washington Commanders, everybody's have hired Chiefs offensive coordinator Eric Bieniemy as his assistant head coach and offensive coordinator. Jason, when you were on last time, you mentioned you was thinking or hoping that the Commanders would hire Eric Bieniemy. What are your thoughts now? Are you happy? You got a lot of expectations. What are you thinking?
I'm ecstatic, and I like to say that I was right. But all jokes aside, I remember I said, you got to go for the best, go hard or go home, and that's what we did, and I think for the Commanders' sake, it's like finally something we can be excited about, and bring some type of energy to the organization on the offensive side. And so I keep hearing things like he coaches hard. He doesn't care who you are. He's going to ride you. He's very detailed. I'm like, we need all of that. And if some guys can't handle it, get them out of there. You know what I'm saying? You're a professional. You should be able to handle it. Apparently, Agent Peterson swears by him, because I think he was like a running backs coach in Minnesota with Peterson. And Peterson's like, I like that. I want to be coached hard. And then apparently, like, what's that guy, Shady McCoy? Apparently he didn't like in Kansas City because of that. But I mean, to be honest, we're not going to confuse Agent Peterson and Shady McCoy for, Shady was, when he's at the top of his game, he was great, but he wasn't no Agent Peterson. So I'm all for it. Like, come in, coach hard. I think our players be up for it. Be very detailed oriented. Like, real quick, they were saying when Homeboy in the Super Bowl ran and slid down at the one, so they said like they literally practice situations like that every single week. They say they practice situations that a lot of times they weren't going to face. Mm-hmm. But they said in that instance in the Super Bowl, they faced it and they were prepared. But they said literally they practice that every single week. And there'll be situations like, do we really got to do this again? And it's like, yeah. So I'm like, man, bring all that, bring the toughness, do what you got to do, because this organization needs on the offensive side, and I'm ecstatic.
No, I agree. I definitely agree. I'm happy to see him here. I want to see how he's going to develop Sam Hall. I think that's going to be the plan. I don't think we're going to bring another quarterback in. If we do bring a quarterback in, it's for backup purposes. So, but let me ask you this, Jason. I want to get to you as well, Brandon. Do you think this is a pit stop for Bieniemy, or do you think he's going to stay here and try to, become the head coach? Because Brandon, the previous show, you kind of convinced me. I thought he was going to stay with Kansas City, because I remember you were saying that, you thought he would just ride it out, wait for Andy Reid to retire,
Also too, yeah.
and become the Kansas City head coach. But Jason, do you think, he's going to be around here for a while, try to, get into our head coaching role? Do you think this is a pit stop? And if he does successful here, you'll get another head coaching interview and try to get that?
This is what I really believe is going to happen, and I want to happen. Ron Rivera got 2 years left of his contract. If we do well next year and the year after, Ron Rivera is going to retire. He's not, and when he does that, BEP is going to slide right into that spot. That's what I believe is going to happen. So it's not an issue of, well, he has to go on more interviews and, oh yeah, he did well with Washington, but whatever. But it ain't gonna be no more excuses. It's gonna be like, he don't even have to go nowhere. He can just slide on into that spot. That's what I believe is really gonna happen. And I'm hoping that's what happens. So yes, I think he'll be here for a while because Ron Rivera is gonna make that transition easy for him by just, some sliding him on into that situation. And honestly, you satisfy the running rule because you got to interview at least one minority. It's like you can just do that and just boom, you ain't got to interview nobody else. Like so, yeah, that's what I believe is going to happen.
No, I hear you. I agree. I think he'll stay around too. So when I first heard this news, the assistant head coach, that's the thing. You're like, okay. So I know he's trying to get into that. So I think that assistant head coach spot, he'll have a little bit more responsibilities. And the naysayers can't say, well, he didn't call plays or he was just doing this one thing. He will have a little bit more responsibility now. So I think that'll go well for him in the future. Now, the whole he's not a good interview thing, I don't know. We're not in the rooms, but that is a factor you got to look at. He had a bunch of interviews before this, and he never got the head coach job, but we'll see. Brandon, what are your thoughts on all this thing, man?
Yeah, I was unsure about the Ron Rivera's contract until Jason said it. So thanks for bringing that up. I think the 2-year contract with that BEP signed, from what I understand, 2 years it was, that kind of make it seem like it's a pit stop. But I do believe, I kind of thought Ron Rivera's job was a little bit on the line last year heading into this year, this time last year heading into last season. I think it got a little hot there early on too, because I know, obviously doing the show, seeing Ed's frustrations with how things were going early on in the season, then y'all kind of turned it around. So it would make sense if he would be there to just slide into that position. I think that would be a good deal for y'all. But as for now and his current job, I think it's a good fit for y'all. The skill position with the Commanders as compared to the Chiefs is quite similar, in my opinion. Now, again, I'm not comparing the quarterback and the offensive line. I'm talking about the skill positions, wide receivers, tight ends, running backs. Y'all have 2 good running backs, B-Rob and Gibson. You have the 3 wideouts and Scary Terry, Jahan Dotson, and Curtis Samuel. Logan Thomas. He's not as good as Kelsey, but that lines up close to what he had. I think that lack of the tight end position makes up for, early in the season, what Kansas City, they didn't necessarily have a run game. So that kind of balances out as far as like what BEP is looking at heading into this season, before draft and free agency. So yeah, once y'all get that offensive line fixed and that quarterback, whether it's Sam Howell or somebody else, somebody in the draft, whoever, it'll definitely help. And then again, that championship pedigree, that makes a lot of difference from the day you step in that door. You have somebody that's been a 2-time offensive coordinator on a Super Bowl winning championship team. Like Jason said, you talk about how the way they practice about sliding down fundamental football. That's how New England won so many Super Bowls. That's how Kansas City is on the verge of winning so many Super Bowls. That's, something I always talk about with their time management. I'm sure that'll get better with y'all. You know what I'm saying? Simple things like that, not wasting timeouts, not wasting challenges. He's going to be assistant head coach, so he'll be in Ron Rivera's ear a little bit more than, the previous coordinator was. So yeah, I think it'll definitely work out for y'all. I do believe if Ron Rivera is let go this season, if things don't start out as well as they do, I think that he'll be a prime candidate to move up. And, yeah, it should be good for y'all.
Yeah, I think so too. And another reason I think we should stick with Sam Howell, I think that would be beneficial for BEP. He comes in and he develops a young guy who's still young in his career, not established. Instead of like getting a guy off of free agency, he's more established and knows how to play the game a little bit. I think that'll look better for Bieniemy. And I just think Sam Hall deserves a shot. So I'm probably kind of biased in that opinion, but I think we should stick with how Bieniemy, take over the reins on the offensive side of the ball. Like you guys mentioned, he was a running backs coach. So I think B-Rob and Antonio Gibson will benefit a lot from him. And then I think that'll open up the passing game as more as well. Hopefully, we throw the ball a little bit more down the field, become balanced. I think we would kind of like lean into lean into the run game a little bit more. Than when the game get out of hand and we start doing these dumb passing plays that didn't really make too much sense. Curtis Samuel, I said it before, he kind of reminds me a little bit of Deebo Samuel just because sometimes he runs the ball out of the backfield. We do a lot of wide receiver screens with him. He's more of a jack of all trades type of guy when it comes to that receiving position. So I think Bieniemy can definitely unlock a lot of guys and give them more potential with the play calling that I'm hoping we'll see from now on. Y'all got any more thoughts about that situation though before we move on?
Yeah, I like what you said about Curtis Samuel. Man, if we ever see the dude get the ball, that dude just like he makes people miss, and he's so slithery and he's actually what's the word? You don't notice it, but he's
Elusive?
actually he's actually kind of big for a receiver. But you don't really notice it because he's so quick and slithery. And I'm like, if we can unlock him a bit more, like that would just make our offense like this scary out of beyond belief. Like he's like I don't know how to say, but I think he's like in a way kind of like the most important part of our offense to make our offense just like be over the top because he does so many things great that we need to take more advantage of.
He just need to catch the damn ball when the time comes. Because he had some drops that raised my blood pressure a little bit as well. So hopefully he can work on that too.
Yeah, I got you, man. He caught against 3 people in Minnesota. Against Minnesota, though.
He did. He has some plays, but he also has some plays that maybe scratch my head and get up and walk away from the TV for a second.
Tough crowd, man.
Oh yeah, it's Jason, man. You don't want to see me on game days watching my Commanders, man. It ain't good some days.
All right, so turning the page up 95, excuse me, to the Ravens, my team, we've hired Georgia offensive coordinator Todd Monken to take over for Greg Roman. Thank God he's gone. So yeah, second year in a row, we brought in a coordinator from the college ranks. Last year was Mike McDonald from Ed's college, one of Ed's college teams, University of Michigan. And now it's Todd Monken. On paper, it sounds good, but you bring in a guy that led the Georgia offense to back-to-back national championships. I think they were averaging like 500 yards per game, if I'm not mistaken, and 40 points per game. We know damn well that's not going to happen overnight in Baltimore. I can only hope that we get at least one of their receivers to want to come to Baltimore. I'm not sure if they're draft eligible or anything like that because I don't watch much college football, but it would be good to, get a piece from there. Somebody he's familiar with to kind of, I guess not necessarily build the offense around because we already got it around Lamar Jackson, but, have somebody that Monken trusts to put around LJ at this point. But from what I understand, he's not going to change the run scheme because that's been successful since Lamar Jackson got in the league. He's just going to focus on the pass game, which obviously needs help. And that's why we're in this situation now. But our main concern is obviously a wide receiver. We need to make sure Bateman is healthy, bring back DeMarcus Robinson, because good things happen when the ball gets in his hands. I always say that. Good things happen when the ball gets in the hands of DeMarcus Robinson. And we need a third receiver that'll help limit Devin Duvernay's playing time on offense because he's such a threat at the return position. And I've said it multiple times this year. I understand, Duvernay's here to make money, but his talent is where he's making his bread and butter right now is on special teams. And I'd like to keep him there and, put him in a couple plays here and there, but don't have him as a 1 or 2 receiver unless we get, an injury or something like that. But yeah, I hope it works out. We've never had good luck with offensive coordinators. ever. So my personal pick would have been James Urban, the quarterback's coach, because he was in Lamar's ear for most of his career since 2018. But yeah, obviously the first things first is pay Lamar and then get another elite receiver. How do you feel about this addition, Ed?
Yeah, pay Lamar. Y'all got to March 7th, I believe, to franchise him.
Yep.
That date's coming
Clock
up
is
soon.
ticking. Yep.
Yeah, so we'll see how that goes. I want to know, has anyone like official story come out of like how Lamar feels about the hire? I haven't really heard too much about that.
I heard from one of my friends that after the announcement that Monken was coming to Baltimore, that Lamar called up the receivers that are on the roster and was like, "Hey, meet me down in Florida, this and that, or we're going to plan a date to get together because we have a coordinator." Not that they do that with the coordinator around, but that's what I heard. And then I heard something that a couple days later on social media, IG or Twitter, something that apparently the fact that Baltimore was going to have Lamar in the meetings or have his input for the offensive coordinator position, they didn't necessarily do what they said they were going to at that press conference. So I'm hearing two different things. So it's almost like, you don't know what to believe. Obviously you wanted to be the first one. You wanted to be meeting receivers. And I think Lamar is a team player, so he probably is meeting up with the guys. But the fact of the other reports that come out that say, oh, he didn't have the say into the coordinator vacancy is kind of concerning. It's hard to believe because they say one thing. I doubt that they would go back and do another, but I guess we'll never know. It's one of those situations like that. At least not now. We won't know.
I definitely think you guys got weapons on that offensive side of the ball. Hopefully this guy can come. You were talking about Isaiah Likely before the year last year. I think he definitely had a good season as a rookie. You already got Mark Andrews, established guy. So you got two tight ends, I think, that can do real good in the passing game. Who knows about Bateman? I know he was hurt pretty much all this year. Hopefully he can come in healthy next year. I'm guessing he'll be your number one receiver.
He would be if at this rate, yeah.
Yeah, I think he'll be the number one. And then you got DeMarcus Robinson, as you said. So I think you guys hopefully can expand the passing game. I think at this point of Lamar's career, he shouldn't be running as much. I still think he can run the ball. He's really dynamic as a runner, but I would really like to see him just passing the ball more, dropping back and passing it instead of running it a little bit more, just to prolong his careers. I really think that's the main issue as far as you guys not signing him to the type of contract he wants. They're just concerned about injuries because he has these last few years, something. It might not be because he's been hurt. I know he got, the COVID year? He got sick like 3 games. He missed a game or something because of sickness. They were saying it was non-COVID related. So I don't know. I think we'll see what happens to this guy. Like I said, I'm not really too much of a big college football guy. I'm trying to remember the quarterback Georgia had though. I know
no, I don't want him. Don't even mention his name. I don't even want that link. He's like 20-some years. Was he like 27?
He kind of remind me Mac Jones, just the way he look a little bit. But I know they were raving about him as a quarterback and college, like as you mentioned, he probably almost as old as us.
Yeah.
What it sounds like. But
remember Brandon Whedon too? Played for the Browns.
He played with the Browns, right? He played with
he was drafted. He was like 27, 28 years old, drafted. No, don't even mention his name.
I don't know if you've seen a lot of this on social media. There have been a lot of Lamar Jackson images of him in the Atlanta Falcons jersey. So
I heard some links right after the season season ended. I heard that, but I haven't seen that though. I'd have to look it up.
Nah, it's just been like, people photoshopping him in the Atlanta Falcons jersey. So I don't know, man. Time is ticking. I honestly think, I don't think y'all gonna sign. I think he's gonna get franchised. Because I saw a contract, they were like, oh, this is a rumor. They gave him $200 million guaranteed, and then there's some contract stipulations that you have to do to get the rest of the money or like a bonus on. So we'll see if he accepts something like that or he's going to want to move on. But I don't know. Jason, what you think about all this situation, man?
I heard that he was involved with the whole coordinator situation, and I was shocked that they chose Todd Monken because the whole time leading up, it was like Bieniemy was getting interviewed by both Baltimore and Washington, so that had me a little scared because I was just like, I don't know where he's going to choose. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
I couldn't be mad if he chose Baltimore because it's a more stable situation, even though the quarterback may be a little suspect with the Lamar Fires, but dude, we got better weapons. And so I'm glad y'all did that because when that news came out, y'all got Todd Monken, I was like, well, it's either us or nobody else with So it was almost by default in a way. But I don't know about this Todd Monken guy. I mean, I know he's been a coordinator a couple of times, like in Cleveland and Tampa. But I'm like, well, I was looking up a little bit, like they didn't do that great on offense in those situations. So, I'm not sure what that's really all about. I mean, there's other coordinators or candidates out there who have more NFL experience, but I don't know. And saying you're gonna keep the same running game is like, but you're gonna focus on passing game. That's a little. The whole thing is you need to open up the passing game even more. So I'm not sure how that's going to work out. So I do believe he does play on the franchise tag because I think and they're not sure long term. I don't think Lamar's sure long term with the situation. And I feel like in order for this to work, y'all do need to open up passing game more. That's and not abandon the run game because it's been a staple, but more passing. But so Todd Monken's gonna have to really bring that to light. And also I believe y'all need to find a number one receiver outside of Bateman because he's still unproven. The best ability is availability. He hasn't been. My feeling is y'all need to see what y'all can do with getting the DeAndre Hopkins. I know Arizona is out with him. They're not. He's not going to want to be Arizona. I don't think Arizona wants him anymore. I don't think he wants to be in Arizona anymore. If y'all got D-Hop, then y'all got something, So that's how I see that situation being good for y'all. Because if y'all don't improve the passing game this year, I actually believe Lamar is going to be out. He's going to want to leave Baltimore and go somewhere else.
Yeah. Another thing before we go or whatever, Greg Roman interview with the Washington Commanders as well. I'm so glad that didn't happen. Brandon texted me about that, and I was really shocked and scared because I was like, no offense to Greg Roman. I mean, he did do some good things with Baltimore.
He did his thing. But
he did do some good things, but I think his time passed him there, and I'm just glad we hired B&B instead of Greg Roman. That's all I wanted to say about that.
I feel you.
Yeah, when I heard
Greg Roman got hired somewhere, didn't he?
I don't know, but one Washington. When I heard that, I was like, this would be a Washington thing to happen. Because I was like, I could really see us interviewing both Bieniemy and Greg Roman and selecting Greg Roman. And I would have, I don't know, I probably would have had to go in hiding for a while. But I'm so glad that didn't happen. But
me too.
But Brent, real quick, ask question. What's your thoughts about going after D-Hop?
I'm a fan of bringing in any wide receiver help, to that talent. But from what I understand, that he has a large salary cap hit, and we haven't been the best with salary cap the last couple of years, so I'm not sure we can afford it. But as like you said earlier, fantasy speaking, I would love to see that. I would love to see someone like DeAndre Hopkins in a Ravens jersey. But it's like you say about a Washington type thing, interviewing Greg Roman and Bieniemy and picking Roman in a Baltimore thing. I could see us being in the market for him, and then reports will come out say that we was probably third on his list or fourth on his list, and we weren't even going to offer him any type of money. You know what I'm saying? It always happens like that. That's just a side note. I'm surprised we even ended up with Roquan Smith, because I felt like
No,
I was surprised we even pulled the trigger on that, because I've seen us be close to those type of situations, to those, those big name players and never get them. But yeah, I mean, DeAndre Hopkins, one of the best in the league, well proven. I mean, what can you there's nothing bad I can think to say about him. I would love to see him in Baltimore, but again, I highly doubt that. But a side note on Bateman, I remember when we drafted him and he was unhealthy at that point. He missed a lot of his rookie season. I remember watching some of his college tape or whatever, when they show it, when they, especially the first and second round, they do it throughout the whole draft. But anyway, I was like, yeah, this, a good pickup, this and that. But like you said, the best ability is availability, and he hasn't been able to stay on the field. When he's out there, it's like I call him a first down machine, because it seems like every pass he catches is 10, 11 yards at the change, first down. But I love the guy. I hope he gets healthy, and I hope he stays in Baltimore for years to come, because I thought that's what we had with Hollywood Brown, but one thing led to another, and he was traded. I just hope Bateman can stick around and we can actually have ourselves an elite wide receiver, because when he's out there, he's not necessarily top 10, top 15, but he's good enough for us. You know what I'm saying? He does the things for us to make the offense look somewhat decent out there, the passing offense. So yeah.
Let's be honest, y'all number one wide receiver is really Mark Andrews.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
But I think D-Hop came over. I think another thing, sometimes you see Lamar Jackson, I want to say he has like temper tantrums, but you see him, getting on his teammates. I don't think he can really come at D-Hop like that. I remember, who was it? One of the linemen, Lamar Jackson got mad at one of the linemen. The lineman was like, hey, man. They kind of started going out. Who was that? I
think it was Ronnie Stanley, I believe.
Yeah. So I think you get another guy like that in the locker room who would stand up to Lamar if he started going like crazy at people. I think that can be beneficial for everybody as well, in my opinion.
But yeah, I don't think, you get D-Hop, I don't think you had anything to yell at him about, negatively, you know what I'm saying? True. I just know he's available. I know the Cardinals made him available, so I'm like, man, y'all got that, but, we'll see.
Yeah, he's crossed my mind. Mike Thomas has crossed my mind, because apparently he's going to be available.
Does he have any ankles left, Mike Thomas?
Yeah,
man.
I know. Unfortunately, I'm with you,
man. I hope he gets healthy, because I drafted him like the last
he's out there.
couple years of fantasy. I'm like, damn. Like last season, he was doing great. Then he got hurt again. I was like, God damn it, man. So y'all could go after Mike Thomas.
Yeah,
could go after him.
If it's between them, we're gonna, again, it'll be the Baltimore thing. We go after the guy that can't stay on the field.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, it's no other way to do it. I mean, like you said, we're good in tight ends. That's why I didn't mention them earlier. We've always been good with tight ends. Todd Heap to Dennis Pitta to Hayden Hurst to Mark Andrews. Now Isaiah Likely coming up. He's gonna have probably another leap into his second year. But the wide receiver position has just never worked out for us, besides maybe Steve Smith and Anquan Bolden. But you get them guys on the back end of the career. And then I think after the Super Bowl, we didn't re-sign Anquan or let him go the following year, something like that. It was some time around then. So it's like they don't make the right decisions with the guys that that put points on the board, in my opinion.
Yeah. Real quick, I just wanted to give a shout out to D'Angelo Hall. He got hired as the Carolina Panthers defensive back coach.
Yep.
He used to play cornerback for Washington for a long time. I think he was on our media team too, doing television for us. So good luck to you down in Carolina, D'Angelo.
And he had been trying to get into coaching for a while. I remember when
you do that, Jason. You do that.
Yeah. So I had no problem with D'Angelo Hall. Actually, my brother played with D'Angelo Hall's brother at Norfolk State, Tyrone.
Okay.
I'm just like, and then you said Brandon said he been trying to get in coaching for a minute, which I didn't know. I'm like, well,
Yeah.
dang, why ain't he come to Washington? Maybe Washington tried to reach out to him. That's a Washington thing too. But he going on to another team, so I'm like, forget him. But dang, shoot, he's been great for. We just lost a DB coach. Like, dang,
Yeah, we did. We
like,
did.
what the heck? Oh
We
my
did.
God. Now I'm even more mad. I don't know who be mad at now. Like that would have been a perfect situation. Godly. Yeah.
You're right, because the DB coach, I'm forgetting his name right now, but I definitely think he did a really good job with guys like Cam Curl and other guys stepping up and playing well. Now, I do think the D-line helped him out with the defensive back, giving them more time to do what they got to do. But same time, I think that might be a big loss for us in the defensive backfield.
That would have been a great situation. Like Chris Harris.
that?
I think you're talking about
Y'all
Chris
let somebody go during the season. Was this the same DB coach?
Nah, this is the guy he got hired by somebody else.
Okay.
Yeah,
I think it was Chris Harris. Is that who it was?
Yeah, he had a bigger role somewhere else. But that's crazy. He been looking to get a coaching. We got a DB coach spot, just open it up, and we couldn't bring one up.
And he literally was in the booth for y'all. Like I think, like I said, he was in the broadcast booth and been there for years too.
That's crazy.
Yeah, Chris Harris was our D-backs coach. He got hired by the Titans.
When D'Angelo Hall used to be on, they stopped airing it this season, but they had a Good Morning Football weekend. He was on there.
I remember that.
And he commented a couple times on some of the black coaches some of the black assistants getting overlooked for head coaching positions. And he was like, it'll never be fair, this and that, something to those terms. And he said, well, I've been trying to get into coaching for a while too. And, just never got the opportunity. So that's when I found that out. But that was at least 2-3 years ago. He said that.
He definitely got a point with assistant coaches because, Shane Steichen, who's the other guy? Gannon, he got hired, both of those guys.
Out of Philly,
Yeah.
That was right there for the picking, though. A DB coach, we needed one. All right, I'm gonna be a little salty about that. Let me think about Bieniemy. Let me think about Bieniemy. Yeah, that's crazy.
Hey, maybe he'll come back in a couple years when y'all get rid of Jack Del Rio, because I know he was on the hot seat too after his antics last offseason.
Yeah, but
he turned around the defense, middle of the year, but you never know what'll happen. So
yeah,
maybe that'll work out for him. Get one foot in the door, and maybe Washington will recognize. But I do also I forgot to say, hitting back on that Washington situation, I think that ownership situation is going to factor into the Ron Rivera, Eric Bieniemy thing, because I mentioned the fact that he might slide into that, and I think Jason did as well. He might slide into that head coaching position by default, but that'll also be interesting to see if the team is sold, when it's sold, who it's sold to, how they feel about, possibly having Bieniemy. Anybody with common sense would say, okay, if we're going to get rid of Ron Rivera and we had to pick somebody on the staff, you go with him. I mean, the only other logical choice would be Jack Del Rio, but we all seen his resume in Jacksonville and what was it, Oakland, I think it was, with the Raiders whenever he was there. So the logical situation, I don't know all y'all's assistants, y'all position coaches, stuff like that. But I would be, if I'm going in-house, I'm going Bieniemy if I had a coaching vacancy there.
Yeah. Whenever the owner transition does happen, it will definitely lift a huge storm cloud off the franchise. So hopefully that gets done sooner than later. I think once Snyder's gone, we're going to see some brighter days, in my opinion.
Literally, it's probably gonna sun will come out and everything. You're going to see people coming out their house, and probably dancing around
in the streets. Yep.
Yeah, we might get fans actually, cheer for the Commanders to come out instead of the empty or home away team fans.
Yeah. But yeah, thanks so much, Jason, for coming on the show again, sounding off on NFL and your team, my team, and everything in between. Appreciate it.
No problem. Appreciate y'all having me again.
Absolutely.
Anytime.
And we'll be back soon again, everyone. Until next time, love one another.